Hi everyone, my name is Lily Jen. These are my teammates, Nicole Siegel, Mike DiNatale, and Andrew Morrison, and we are Real World. Imagine you work in HR and you need to design a role-playing scenario to train new employees on company practices. Or perhaps you want to set up a Civil War reenactment. Or maybe you want to host a murder mystery party where guests work together to try and figure out who a murderer is. All of these are ARGs, alternate reality games. To set one up, you need to get people together, define roles, set up props, organize events. It's a lot of work. So what Real World allows you to do is create characters, plan events, and play the game all on one platform. And so I'm going to pass it off now to Andrew, who's going to show you what it's like to actually play a game on Real World.
Thanks, Lily. So here we have a more specific example of a game built with our app. This is a 3-person murder mystery game played by Lily, Nicole, and Mike. So first look at the first event saying dinner is served. So you'll watch all 3 people get that notification and then go into the dining room. And instead of getting dinner, they find a dead body. So later on, they're all discussing who they think did it. They can't really figure it out. And Nicole gets a single-person event saying, hey, there's a weird noise coming from the hallway. You should go check it out. So she reacts and leaves. And then Mike and Lily get notifications to each of their phones to help them probe each other and really figure out who they think did it. And then finally, in our last scene, we have the 3 of them doing their final decisions, right? So they all get voting notifications, and they'll say, oh, I think Mr. Pincus did it, or whatever. And then after they've voted, they get the final reaction. Oh, Mr. Periwinkle did it, as they all thought. And so now we'll hand over to Mike to tell you a little bit more about how this works and how to build one of these kind of games.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so you're a user and you're getting ready to play one of these games. So you'll go onto your phone and log on to our site. All right, you find which game you want to play, and you click on it, and it contacts our node server, which then goes to Mongo to grab the instructions for that game. Our node is going to format those instructions and send them to Firebase, which is then going to disseminate them to all the users' phones. Our node server is then going to wait for a message from all the players that they're ready to start playing, and then start a central game clock, which will start sending out events all in sync with the single clock to the user's Firebase, which then, as I said, sends it to the users. So now we're going to take a look at actually how to build this set of instructions. So you go to our game builder site and start to fill out some basic information about the game. We're going to work on creating a job training scenario this time. So you fill in the basic information and start creating a character. So we're going to create a barista, maybe a customer, and then maybe the store manager. After you've got your characters, it's time to actually start creating some events. So you have 2 types of events. You have text events and choice events. You drag over the targets, and if it's a text event, it'll give the characters a notification of something they should do, or if it's a choice event, those choices might have a later impact somewhere in the game. So now you get guided over to the timeline where you start to stitch it all together. So here's Nicole to talk about that.
Thanks, Mike. So one of the challenges that we face is finding a way for the game maker to easily manage all of the events that they just created. So this is where we came up with our game timeline, and you could follow along with a tree representation of it on the right side of the screen. You could drag your events over into the game timeline and set times on them. So our first event is going to happen 1 minute after the game starts. Then let's drag one of our choice events over. Here we have 3 options that we need to decide, and directly after the player makes a decision, we want another event to happen. So let's just drag and drop that inside of the other event. That's pretty much how you plan out the whole timeline of the game. Once you're ready to save, it will recursively go through each of the events in the timeline and save the appropriate properties onto them, depending on where it's located in the timeline. Then when you're ready to play, you could go find the game and share it with others. If you're ready to create your own real-world scenario, head over to realworld.online. Thank you.